you need to rush off anywhere, please just feel free to do so, and I will send this over. I will try to run through this. Again, I'm going to be sending a lot of information via email over the next couple of weeks, so don't feel like you're missing something. I just want to be able to go through a couple of things, clarify some things for you if needed. So we did all of that. So technically your role officially begins today. So welcome. I'm so excited to have all of you here. Again, this is my second year working with the GAP program, and I absolutely love the opportunity to continue working with students again, because that's something that I did for so many years. And I really truly believe that our graduate students have a wonderful opportunity to help shape not only the future of student affairs, but the future of NASPA as well. And I think, as you can all see, we have such a diverse group of students already just on this call, and we have another 60 in your cohort. And I really firmly believe that these cohorts in the last couple of years are going to help shape what NASPA is going to and should look like over the next few years. And so I'm very excited about that. Your role technically runs starting today through June 15th. We are in the middle of entering all of you into our website, so that way you can actually upload your pictures and show up on the GAP roster. So I know I told everybody to hold off until today. I have an intern who is furiously working on making sure everything gets in and we have everybody in there. So I will hopefully have updates for everybody before the end of this week on when you can start uploading your pictures. You're attending one of the following orientations, so check on that. Last year, we had monthly calls starting in September through June, but I also want to recognize the fact that you are all very busy and you have a lot of things that you need to be doing. So this year, I've changed it up a little bit in that you just have to participate in the minimum of 5 of the 9 calls that are going to happen. So I'm hoping by this Wednesday to give you an idea of what the monthly calls are going to be about. And what I used them last year as was an opportunity to introduce all of you to the different parts of NASPA and the things that we do. So we have a public policy division. We have a Center for First Generation Student Success. We have the NASPA Foundation. So we have quite a number of different people who are going to be speaking about NASPA and the work that we're doing and all of the different initiatives and areas that we touch that you may or may not be familiar with. So you can start sort of looking at your calendars and deciding which of the monthly calls you would like to attend, or if you're available to be able to attend all of them. The other thing that I'm going to be asking all of you to do is to reach out to new NASPA members either on your campus, in your city, your state, or your region. We will be working on getting a monthly list to all of you of new people at the end of the month. And all you have to do is shoot them a quick email if you would like, or pick up the phone if you're comfortable being a phone talker, and just introducing yourself and saying, you know, my name's Jordana Taylor. I'm this part of this year's GAP cohort with NASPA, and I just wanted to welcome you to NASPA and let you know that if you have any questions about NASPA and how to get connected to the community, I'm happy to help you. And that's all you have to do. And part of this is it gives us an opportunity to do additional outreach to our new members, as well as a chance for you to be able to connect with those on your campus who are members of NASPA. So this is sort of like a unintentional, intentional networking opportunity for all of you as well. We are asking that you serve as the contact for your peers and NASPA members on your campus. So if people have questions, you can, like I've said in my emails, I've given you all ways to text me or send me an email. So if somebody has a question about NASPA, please let them know that they can reach out to you directly. And if you don't know the answer, you can just text me, and I typically will get back to you as soon as possible. We rely on your feedback about the programs and services that grad students need. NASPA, whether you have been part of NASPA for a while as enough, whether you've been part of NASPA for a while as a professional or even just as a student, we need to know what programs and services you all need. So as you go through the cohort this year, see the things that NASPA is doing, attend different NASPA events, webinars, read different things on our blog and social media, let me know what is it that NASPA is doing well, because I always want to know what we're doing well for graduate students. and where are we lacking in terms of support for you? One of the things that I thought was very apparent when I was working in graduate enrollment and student services is that the number of support staff dedicated to graduate students versus the number of support staff that we dedicate to undergraduate students is very different. And the institution that I was at was a fairly large school, but all of the student affairs for the particular programs that I managed were, there was only 3 of us for 800 students. And we did everything from enrolling them, advising them, making sure that they had scholarships, housing, etc. So I don't know if many of you or any of you are in that same position or feel that you don't have the same type of support as maybe you did when you were an undergrad, but that's where I hope NASPA can be a supplement to your experience in graduate school. So if there's anything that you feel that NASPA can do to continue to support you during your time in grad school, and also to get people to become interested in becoming student affairs professionals and going to grad school for this program, let me know. And I 100% need and welcome that feedback. The only month that everybody is required to do something for the GAP program is in October during Careers and Student Affairs Month. That can be really anything. You could host a lunch, a brown bag lunch with your staff and watch one of the many free online webinars or modules that NASPA has available. You can present about NASPA to one of your classes. You can do something even more elaborate. Last year we had 2 students who actually put on a conference, like a little mini conference. You certainly are not required to do that, but that was something that was like on like the 100% other end of the spectrum. You can run a resume workshop. You may already be doing things in October for Careers and Student Affairs Month. So you can certainly double up and attach that as part of your GAP work. You are required to coordinate a minimum of 3 events throughout the year, one of them being the one in October at Careers and Student Affairs Month, as I mentioned. Those other 2 events can be anything from doing an Instagram takeover, a Twitter AMA. You can write a blog. You can do a vlog if you would like. Like I said, you could present to your class. You could talk to undergrads if you advise or supervise any undergraduate student workers. You can just hold like a little mini 30-minute info session and be like, hey, guess what? This is what I do for a job, and this is what I'm going to do for a living. Funny anecdotal story is that my daughter's boyfriend was an RA on campus, and he did not realize that his area directors or supervisors were doing that as their actual professional job. He thought they were all just like random volunteers helping people move into the residence hall. And I explained to him that no, people have that, and that is an actual job and profession that people go to school for and are very committed to. So there's still a long way to go, even though student affairs has come a very long way since I came into it in 2001. I think that there's still a lot to do in terms of educating people about the profession and the fact that this is certainly a calling for so many of you. And then obviously just you'll be required to provide us some regular updates using the event reporting tool, and I will be sending out more information about that in the coming weeks. Again, I mentioned Instagram versus Twitter. You are welcome to do both. For Instagram, you basically take over, you post a headshot of yourself, do a little intro, and then you take over my stories for the @NASPA grads. And people really love it. They like seeing what you do first thing in the morning. They like to see what you eat for lunch, and they like to see where you go to school. And I think it's also very helpful for people to see that while you might be in school in the East Coast or the West Coast, Midwest, or the South, that you are all having very similar experiences, but also it's nice to see some of the differences in your experiences on campus as well. If you're going to do both Instagram and Twitter, you do have to differentiate the content a little bit. So you can't just do like a day in the life of Jordana on Instagram and then do a Twitter AMA. You might want to do something on Instagram if you're doing the Twitter AMA, something like, you know, focusing on your program specifically, or you can follow a professor around all day and just be like, you know, let's go follow this really amazing person around and let's see what they do every day. So, you know, showcase your school, your cohort, your favorite professor. If you're doing an event on campus, that can be part of your entire content for the day. And it's really just to give a chance for people to share what they're doing on campus. I already talked a little bit about Careers and Student Affairs Month. Your contact for that is Colleen Doherty. And she's part of my team. Here are just a couple of things. Like I said, you can do a social takeover, you can write a blog post, webinar, you can connect with SA Pros on your campus, hold a networking event. You know, it doesn't have to be a big to-do. It just has to be something that promotes the profession and in many ways connects it back to the work that NASPA is doing as well. And I'm certainly will have Colleen send some additional things about that for you. The event reporting tool you can access by logging into your NASPA account. Again, I'm going to send a whole screen share video on how to access this and how to submit this information. But the other thing that I that I put on here, there's this little infographic on how to explain student affairs. So if you are all still struggling to explain to your parents, aunties, uncles, neighbors, the garbage man, the postman, like what it is that you do for a living. This is kind of a fun little infographic. If any of you are graphic design geniuses or like just really good at Canva and you would like to update the look and the feel of this, I would love to have that. So I will be sending a lot of these things via an attachment to all of you in the next couple of weeks. And if somebody's like, oh, I can really add to this or like snazz this up, please, I would love to hear from you. But yes, that's a little how to explain student affairs. Like you can literally print that out and that can be your whole Careers and Student Affairs Month presentation if you would like. You can do like a whole story around that. Let me see. Oh, these are, let me see. Monthly GAP calls, again, are meant to introduce you to various parts of NASPA. One of the things that we do, for example, is in November, we're going to have Sarah Whitley, Dr. Sarah Whitley from our Center for First Generation Student Success, talk to all of you about the work that they are doing. In February, we will have Kirsten Fox, who is the director of the Placement Exchange, talk to all of you about what the Placement Exchange is. So for those of you who are on that job hunt, she can also answer questions about how to really stand out at TP, which can be really exhausting and intimidating. And so I will be sending out like a whole list of what's happening every month on there. For those of you who are second-year GAPs and have agreed to be peer mentors within this cohort, I will be reaching out to you. But those of you who are first-year GAP members, we do have a few second years amongst us, and they have agreed to become mentors for all of you, and really just to provide you some guidance on GAP and NASPA, and just to continue to connect you to yet another smaller group within this cohort to just share ideas, any challenges you may have. Sometimes it's nice to have another group of like-minded folks to talk about the things that you want to in terms of, how do I write this paper? Does my resume look good? Should I wear this to this interview? And they can really help you navigate some of the experiences that they've already had with NASPA and GAP, and I'll be sending out more information about that as well in the coming weeks. I've given you all multiple ways to contact me other than giving you all my home address. But if you're ever in the Washington, D.C. area and you would like a home-cooked meal, I will be more than happy to share my home address with you so you can Uber over here. But you can email, you can text me, you can find me on GroupMe, even though I'm not as responsive on there. Facebook, and I'll be sending you weekly emails. I will tell you from just a self-care perspective, I like to have a hard stop to my day. So my work hours are 7 a.m. in the morning until 4 p.m. in the afternoon. Eastern time. If it is after my work hours, I may not get back to you until the next day. And that is just something that I do for myself in terms of separating and having some of that work-life balance. But if it is urgent, or if you send me a message and I feel like I should respond to you right away, I 100% will. But if I don't get back to you until the next day because you have contacted me after 4 p.m. Eastern, please know that it's not because I don't want to talk to you. It's just I want to spend some time with my family and my dog. So that's all that is. But there's multiple ways to connect with me at all times if you need to. Annual conference internship is an awesome opportunity that is only open to those who are part of the current GAP cohort. We pick 8 gaps to be conference interns for annual conference. And the only thing is that if they are a second year gap and they have already served as an intern for last year's conference, they are ineligible to apply. This year's conference is in Austin, Texas. I recognize that some of you may be in areas where they may not give you any funds or permit you to travel to Texas for a number of reasons. Specifically those on the West Coast in California, for example, there is a travel ban to Texas using state funds. So if you're at a state institution using state funds, you may not be able to attend Austin. If you are going to need your institution's money. However, if you're interested in applying to be a conference intern, we do give you $400 stipend to cover expenses such as your travel, your meals, Ubers, Lyfts, etc. Most people will take that $400 and put it towards their airfare. Housing is 100% covered for the duration that you will be working as an intern. The cost of attending the conference is 100% covered by NASPA. We do build in some opportunities for all of you to be able to actually attend sessions at annual conference in addition to working the behind the scenes as an intern. And the applications are going to be available at the beginning of November 2019, and I will have decisions before the end of December. So for those of you who are interested, really all it is there's going to be just a 250-word question as to why you think you would make a really great intern. We are going to ask for yet another letter of recommendation, but it has to be a little bit different, so please don't recycle your rec letter from your GAP application. But basically, I'll give you the list of duties that we are looking for in terms of a great conference intern, and then please ask your recommenders to take a look at those and let us know why you would be a really great candidate for this. I'll also make our previous year's interns available to all of you for those who are interested in asking about those experiences sometime in October. So just keep an eye out for that. And you must be able to commit to travel to and from Austin. Right now, these dates are a little fuzzy, but it's going to be anywhere between March 27th and April 1st. So it's actually very, very late in the year. So I also recognize that that is also coming up in terms of graduation, etc. I was going to do a quick thing on Know Your NASPA, but I recognize that we are about 6 minutes away from being done with our meeting. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to share this Google presentation with all of you in the chat, and I will also send that to folks who were not able to stay with us when I send all of you a copy of this recording. This has not been updated for 2019, so just full disclosure there, but this is a live working document that I use whenever I do presentations about NASPA, so I will be updating that. You'll be able to see there are a couple of notes on the presentation that you can see, and you're welcome to use that if you'd like to, have some talking points, and it gives you a little bit of context about what those slides are and the content within them. So, but feel free to use this presentation. Oops, and I sent this just to Chandler, so Chandler got a firsthand extra early look. So I just put it in the chat to everybody now. But please feel free to take this presentation and use it, make a copy of it, and save it on your own Google Drive and modify it to what might fit and make sense for the audience that you're presenting to. And if there's any additional information about NASPA that's not covered in this presentation, because obviously whenever I present this, I sort of go off script, I add some little additional tidbits on there. I just really use this as something to have in the background and some talking points. Please let me know so I can provide that information for you as you need it. So, but you're welcome to make copies of this, save it on your own Google Drive. But like I said, this is being updated also by our intern, and it will not be updated until the end of September. So if you need this presentation sooner than later, let me know, and I will let you know which slides are in need of updating, and I can get those updated for you, sort of just like a quick little update before the end of September. 4 minutes left. Are there any questions? We ran through that really quick. This was a humongous call. So I also want to thank all of you for being so patient as everybody sort of introduced themselves and we had a chance to put some faces to names. We're going to do everything pretty much virtually. And I know for some that can be a little bit of a challenge if that's not something you're used to. But it is a really great opportunity for all of you to connect. I really highly recommend that you use all of those social media and communications tools as best as you can. I know last year's GAP cohort is still using their GroupMe chat for like job placement and just questions about like life questions if they need to. And I think that's awesome because I think that's great that they have made those connections, and I want all of you to make the same connections as well. But if you have any questions, please speak now or forever hold your peace. Otherwise, I would love to give all of you 3 minutes of your late morning, afternoon, evening back. And like I said, your first What's Up Wednesday email is going to come this Wednesday with some additional information. I will try not to be incredibly long-winded, but some of these things I just want to make sure to get to you as far as information goes. So I just recommend if you are using any type of email tool like Gmail or Outlook that you go ahead and filter all of my emails, put them in a folder labeled GAP so you can come back to it later because you don't always have a chance to look at it. And then you can also look at it for like historical purposes to just kind of check back. So thank you everybody for your time. Thank you for your patience as we got started. And I will certainly send you all the information about the programs that we have. And Christine, I know that you just sent me a message and I will respond to you individually here shortly. So thank you again, everybody.
Thank you.